Hi VC, Dave back with you. A lot of stuff to show. Vinyl, CDs and cassettes all mixed in here. Let's start with the vinyl. And I'll try to get through these kind of quickly. Picked up this in a second-hand record shop a couple of days ago. This was long on my want list. Philip Glass's soundtrack to the 1985 movie Mishima. Mishima, Life in 4 Chapters, I believe is the full title of the movie. Long been a fan of this score since I saw the movie years ago, and it had been on my want list for a long time, but picked this up for €8. It's an original US pressing on it's on Elektra, Elektra. So one that had been on my want list. So very pleased to pick that up. Charity shop finds. This is a very interesting find for just €1. Now, it doesn't have a sleeve, but it's a compilation on the UK Track label. Now, Track label, active in the late 60s, early 70s, put out a lot of stuff by The Who and Jimi Hendrix. This is actually a compilation. One side of it is this side is Jimi Hendrix, and this side is The Who. So, and to top it all off, even though it doesn't have a sleeve, it came in this vertical swirl sleeve. Obviously not the original sleeve it would have come in, but that's how I found it. So this vertical sleeve will be finding a good home in my vertical collection. I have about 5, I think, and I think most of them have the swirl sleeves, but there's 1 or 2 that are missing, so that will be going in there. And this, I picked this up the other day in a charity shop for €3. Deja Vu, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. So it's not an original pressing. It's late 70s pressing, I would say. Excellent album. It's just a classic. Some great songs on this. Almost Cut My Hair, Teach Your Children, Our House. Great album. It does have the textured sleeve and the kind of stick-on photo, but not a first press, but still a really nice pickup for that price. Okay, I'm gonna go through CDs. I picked up a lot of CDs. There was a couple. Okay, I'll start off first. Again, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. This is a 4-Way Street. This is a double live album. Picked this up for €1, so very nice indeed. Now, I made a massive CD haul in a local charity shop. It's just one of those really lucky moments when you walk in and they're just after putting the stuff out. There's some fantastic stuff. I grabbed these all for €1 each. It was a big Bjork collection. Now I grabbed 1 or 2 more that I grabbed for Ben Costello, because I knew he was looking for them, but which I won't show those ones, but the Vespertine, Medulla, and this is the one, the hell is this one called? Oh yeah, Homogenic, with that superb cover art. This one, Telegram, which is a comp, is it? Anyway, yeah, kind of a nice little selection of Bjork CDs. Now, also had several. I also picked up a few Cocteau Twins albums. There's Heaven or Las Vegas is this from 1990? Yeah. On the 4AD label, always they're difficult enough to come across Cocteau Twins in the wild, even on CD. So always worth grabbing. This is one that I actually already have on vinyl, but I wasn't leaving it behind for that price. There's a mini album, Head Over Heels, from 1983. This is, I don't know, probably a reissue from the later in the 80s, but yeah, this is one of my favourite Cocteau Twins. Well, it's not an album, mini album, but it does have superb tracks on it. And Treasure, from, when did this come out? Oh yeah, 1984. So yeah, very nice Cocteau Twins finds. Always a bonus to find them in the wild. In the same place, the Jimmy Cake, and this is called Brains. Jimmy Cake are Irish kind of post-rock group, kind of similarities with Mogwai in ways, but maybe a little bit more playful. And yeah, so that's again, they're a group who are pretty hard enough to find in the wild as well, so I was quite pleased with that. Now, a lot of Nine Inch Nails. Nine Inch Nails, kind of pioneers, I suppose you could say, of industrial metal. Pretty Hate Machine from 1989. This is a 2010 reissue with this this really nice plastic slipcase. Yeah, so this is our kind of big breakthrough. There's those singles, Whole Like a Head, and Down in It. Yeah, this is really their kind of big breakthrough. Great album, this. Staying with Nine Inch Nails, The Downward Spiral, from 1994. And the booklet there. Yeah, this was another really big album from them, from Nine Inch Nails. This is an Australian edition. And this is an interesting one. This is a bootleg, actually. Nine Inch Nails Purest Feelings Volume 2. It's this is either Indonesian or, yeah, Indonesian. Basically just a compilation of, some of their better known tracks. And finally, the final part of that CD haul is, for me, the best. This is a group called Scorn. Scorn, UK band who were made up of former members of Napalm Death, and basically what this is kind of beats-driven electronic industrial. This is a compilation comprising 2 of their studio albums from the mid-90s. Ellipsis and Evanescence. So yeah, again, very, very hard to find this stuff in the wild. So that was really, really a superb score. Now I went down home to my hometown, which is a few weeks ago, there's a town I stopped off in down along the way. I've talked about this place before. There's a kind of an outdoor kind of flea market type thing goes on in the main square in this town. Well, basically, it's a kind of an agricultural fair, but really, it's a sort of a big flea market kind of thing where you get people selling all kinds of stuff. There was a guy selling cassettes among other things, and I picked up some pretty interesting. Sorry, bear with me. Yeah, picked up 4 cassettes for 50 cents each. Starting off with Steely Dan, Gaucho from 1980. I already have this on vinyl, but for 50 cents I wasn't going to leave that behind. Yep. I think the case actually looked like it was kind of half melted or something, but the tape plays fine. Again, this is another one I have on vinyl already, but this is a superb album, so very good to pick it up on cassette as well. The B-52s, their self-titled debut album from 1979. I think this is a mid-80s reissue. Yeah, love this album, Rock Lobster. It's just superb, post-punk album. Oh yeah. I don't generally grab stuff by Queen generally, but it was 50 cents, so I thought why not. A Day at the Races, 1976. It's fun, a fun listen. It has that song, "Oh Somebody to Love," "Tie Your Mother Down." Yeah, 50 cents. So what the hell? Oh yeah, and this is a very interesting one. This is Malaysian traditional songs. Yeah, it sounds very like Indian. It has a very kind of, well, to my ears anyway, has a very kind of Indian sound. Various artists, absolutely none of whom I have heard of before, but I've been playing this a lot and really like it. Came out on CBS, I think the Indonesian CBS, 1989. So very unusual find, and been enjoying it quite a bit. Oh yeah, and when I was in the town, I just went around to the charity shops. Nothing much of interest except for this one find, Mogwai. Mogwai, their debut album. Young team. Always worth grabbing Mogwai. And I see them going cheap in the wild. But Mogwai post rock, virtually completely instrumental. Long instrumental kind of. I don't know if I call it prog, but maybe if you take the kind of, I don't know, it's kind of hard to, I suppose kind of a modern 1990s take on kind of post-prog. Okay. Right. Returning to cassettes. Just bear with me. I might have mentioned before, when I was in my teenage years, I was a big metal fan, particularly death metal and black metal. Kind of a phase I went through, then I kind of lost interest in it, but I've been kind of rediscovering. When I was Now these cassettes have been sitting in a box for the last 20 years, and I decided I'd bring. There's loads of them, but some of them I decided I'd bring up back with me. Iron Maiden's first 3 albums, which I bought when I was I think I bought these when I was 16. Self-titled debut album. Killers and Number of the Beast. These are late 80s reissues. I would have bought these, I think, around 1990, when I was yeah, when I was 16. So other albums on cassette which I decided to bring home with me include Diacide. Yes, Diacide, highly controversial band. I was kind of into them for the shock value. They were kind of purveyors of satanic metal. Again, Legion. Slayer, Rain and Blood, a classic album, and I kind of I picked up the vinyl edition of this last year, and I kind of rediscovered this album. So this is my cassette copy, which I had since I was about 16 or 17. What else? Okay. Oh yeah, more Slayer. Their debut album, Show No Mercy. Now, I made a very interesting discovery while I was down at my parents'. The following 4 albums, for years I thought I'd lost them. I remember bringing them with me when I moved out of home, when I was sharing a house with some students, when I was kind of in my early 20s, and I must have brought them back home with me at some point, because I was kind of thinking for years, what the hell did I do with these? Did I lose them? Were they stolen? Did I sell them? I was kind of... But anyway, as it turns out, I discovered them in a bag in my old bedroom at my parents' house. Now, all 4 of these are highly collectible. They're all on the Earache label, which is a kind of thrash metal, grindcore, death metal label in the UK. First up, Napalm Death, Scum. Napalm Death, a band from Birmingham, pioneers of the grindcore genre. This came out in 1987. This is a 1989 reissue. They just kind of specialize in really fast, really short songs with kind of, I suppose you could say, incomprehensible screamed and grunted lyrics. Yeah, it's a more interesting listen than it sounds, but no. The next 2 albums, the covers are a bit gruesome. They're by a band called Carcass. This is their debut album called Reek of Putrefaction. Now the cover is kind of gruesome, so I'll kind of... But their second album, Symphonies of Sickness. Now, both of these cassettes, these have the original artwork, which is subsequently banned. So these have become really highly collectible in the years since, because the artwork featured on these, in all subsequent reissues, they use different artwork. So yeah, these are real big collector's items. Carcass, a band from Liverpool, they were described as grindcore because the lyrics and song themes all kind of deal with kind of gore, basically. Kind of like similar to Napalm Death, but Napalm Death tend to be kind of more political, whereas Carcass tended to kind of focus more on kind of shock value kind of stuff. Also, that their third album, Necroticism, Descanting the Insalubrious, yeah, they tended to use a lot of these kind of medical. I think they tended to kind of raid the medical dictionary for all these kind of obscure, kind of insane sounding song and album titles. Okay, I will finish up with two more cassette finds. I found these actually only yesterday in a local flea market. Both very interesting. Now, moving away from all that kind of death metal, and this is something a bit more melodic, a bit more soothing. The Orchestral Tubular Bells by Mike Oldfield, of course. I have this on CD as well. This is a late 80s reissue, so very nice find indeed. And this is a very interesting find. This is a bootleg tape of The Cure live in Sydney in 1980. So really, really interesting find. As you can see, it's just taped onto a blank tape. It's the whoever put this together basically did this kind of very interesting DIY job. The cover appears to have been cut out of a magazine. So it's actually a picture of Mark Alban there on the back. But yeah, this is a really good live recording of The Cure in their kind of early post-punk days. So there's a fantastic selection here. A Forest, 17 Seconds, or Three Imaginary Boys, Boys Don't Cry. So yeah, really interesting find. Okay, so I'm going to leave it at that. Thanks everybody for watching, and I'll be seeing you all soon.